All right. So it's time for a little podcast session, you know what I'm saying? It's time for a little podcast with the boys. Hi everybody, I'm Mtashed. This is Kackis, and this is Trevang. You don't have to introduce yourself, I'll do it.
Oh, are you?
I'm gonna interrupt you today.
You know how he likes to hear himself talk.
Oh my god.
Today is episode 32, and we've got a lot of stuff. Honestly, I'm actually jazzed about this episode because it feels like there's some meaningful things to talk about. We're not just picking trash out of the trash pile.
Like all of the 31 episodes.
Yeah. We literally never do that. Every topic, slam it. Every topic, banger, okay?
All right,
non-stop bangers.
That is subject to opinion. But one quick thing before we get in the episode, I just wanted to do a quick thank you because we had a bunch of super chats the other day that just didn't show up. We couldn't read them. So I want to go rifle them off really quickly. We had a $10 from Devin Carr. Hey, absolutely love you all. Thank you so much. Steven Mendoza with a 5, a 2, a 5, and a 5. And then another 5. He was just saying bangers all day. Akeem Dyer with a $10 donation. Do you think double primaries will ever be useful in the Crucible? I think we saw this when we talked about it.
Yeah, I saw
Devin Carr, Edward Bender, and then here's the thing. There was 2 of them right at the very end. We didn't even get a chance to respond to them. We got Akeem Dyer with another one, and then Nate Dogg with a $30 Australian dollar donation. My shout out for a drink. Thanks guys for the great content, much appreciated. And then Anoki Ultimatum with a $10. Thank you guys. We miss them. We love you. We appreciate the support. Now let's get into the content. Okay,
that's right. Outriders launched this week. You know, a week ago, right?
Yep.
We're a full week in now.
I think when we did last year live stream, if I remember correctly, it was like one day before the official launch. It was Wednesday, and I think they officially launched Thursday. And we had been playing it a little bit early.
Right.
We'd have been having fun, but there's a lot of controversy behind this launch because the launch, I think it's undeniable, did not go well.
Right.
And a lot of people are really negative about this because obviously when you have like a new IP, there's a lot of eyes on this. There's a lot of eyes in this game. A lot of people don't know what to think. And then like servers crash. If you thought the Destiny servers were bad at a launch, right? Like I thought it was nothing could get more annoying than seeing your place in a queue go up. And you're like, that's not what a queue does, Bungie. Like, that's literally the opposite of the point of a queue. How do you make a queue number go backwards, right? So that was you thought that was frustrating? The Outrider servers were down, not just for like a day, multiple days.
Yeah, it was a long stretch there.
And a lot of technical issues as well. They had a stuttering issue for the first couple of days. That has since been fixed. If you can, when you go to launch, you can launch DirectX 11, completely fix it for me. But there's
a couple of major things have not been fixed. The crashes is one of them. Yeah,
so a lot of crashes. You can't, as far as I know, you can't play crossplay, or at least if you do, there's a good chance you're going to get disconnected. We tried to play crossplay, like me and TV. I was so excited to finally get to play with Devastator. Nope, it didn't work. So that is just, it's really an interesting topic because on the one hand, a lot of people are upset that obviously they didn't get to play the new game they just bought. On the other hand, the people who have got to play it, from what I've seen, there's been a lot of positivity. A lot of people having a lot of fun with the game. Yeah.
It's like they're pissed off because they like it so much. So it's like,
and they can't play it. That's
exactly. Right. They want to be playing it. I know Ryan, you're having an absolute blast with it, right?
I've got over 60 hours in it already.
He's grinding.
I think I'm right behind you at like 50 something because I started a new character, like I've been grinding.
Yeah. But
interestingly though, a lot of people are also saying that they appreciate that even though these things are going wrong, that this is just something I've seen in our modern day and age, right? With just how many launches go like this, like, you know, every Destiny launch, you're getting kicked off. It's contacting Destiny servers, right? It very rarely goes smoothly. So a lot of people have been saying, you know what? I actually really appreciate the developers for being really transparent, and they're always on Twitter saying it's gone wrong, here updating, they acknowledge everything right away. And something to that effect, the last video I put out was a sponsored video from Outriders. So they paid me to make the video, but they just said, hey, kind of just give us your thoughts, like go wild. And the video is literally the first part. I'm bashing them. I'm like, you can't even play because of servers or whatever. And I submitted. I was like, we'll see what happens. And they're like, it's been approved. They're like, it's fine. Which I want to say, like, obviously, if they would have been like, no, you can't say these things, I probably just wouldn't have ever posted it, right? Like, I'm not the type of person who's gonna like lie for a sponsorship, but I was surprised and also really impressed that they were like, we're not gonna shy away. We know our servers are having issues, right? We know there's issues going on. They're not trying to pretend like everything's fine, which a lot of other developers. So we talked about the Call of Duty Crossbow accidentally going live. They didn't even talk about it for like 6 hours, right? It's just like Outriders has been quite transparent, which has been good.
Right.
Yeah,
Do you think that Outriders is better than Anthem at launch?
100%.
Oh, undeniably.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Because the reception of the game so far has been overwhelmingly positive. I mean, some people are like, this isn't my thing, and that's totally fine. But there is a lot of positive press about this game out there right now. You got even like some really critical people who are generally very critical of games and are kind of hard on them, especially at launch. People like Paul Tassi, people like Skill Up, who are always just like, I'm totally candid. That's my thing. Here's what I'm feeling. And they've got a lot of game experience to back up, their initial thoughts and feelings about games. And they're both like very positive about this game. I've seen a lot of positivity from generally negative people. The game's being received really, really well. In fact, it was in the top 10 for peak concurrent player base on Steam this week for 3 days in a row with like up near 150,000 concurrent Steam players.
And speaking of that, it had a higher peak concurrent player base than Borderlands 3 ever did. So Borderlands 3 released and 2. Yeah. Well, 2 obviously 2 was so long ago, like a decade ago.
Right. Yeah.
But like when I honestly am flabbergasted by that. Like I actually can't believe that. Like Borderlands 3 was so hype.
And that was during the days where the servers were having issues, by the way. That was during that stretch.
Yeah.
See, here's the thing.
They've gone up because now since the servers have finally opened up, like more and more people are actually coming on and playing.
Mm.
I kind of feel bad for them because I do think it's better than Anthem, but because the servers have been down, everyone's complaining and saying like, "Oh, is this Anthem 2.0?"
Yeah.
And like, how many people are in the Twitch chat saying like, "Is this worth $60? Is this Anthem?" And I think it is much better. The end game, 10 times stronger. I'm not saying Outriders is amazing, but like Anthem's endgame was ass. The looting systems in Anthem were pretty ass. Like you were, what were we doing the one day? Shooting that golem and like trying to farm this golem for like 10 hours trying to get legendaries.
I don't think the Anthem loot system was that bad. The problem was like so much of it was glitched out, and so it didn't work. You'd put together like an amazing synergy. You'd have this tricked out amulet. You're like, oh, I'm so powerful, and it wouldn't even work properly, right? So. Like that was the issue. There's more like glitches like that where stuff wasn't working properly. In Outriders, it is different. And the synergies, dude. So like, and I said this in my video, but like, holy crap. It is a breath of fresh air that the devs are literally like, go wild. Like there seems to be no concern with what might be overpowered in Outriders. Whereas like Destiny is like sunsetting weapons because they're too good. Oh, you're having fun? Nerfed. You like this? Nerfed. We're taking away half the game. You idiots can only get one buff, one debuff, right? Whereas Outriders, dude, I played a Technomancer and I blasted through the campaign because I just used what you can actually do is transfer some weapons over in the stash, so you get some guarantee. You dismantle them on your new character, so you get some guaranteed perks. So you just use the twisted rounds. And then there's a perk where if you get a kill with twisted rounds, you get 40% of the ammo back. Or you can have a weapon perk where if you get a kill on the last 35%, you get all your magazine back. Well, with an LMG, you literally never run out. Not twisted rounds, toxic rounds. You literally never run out of toxic rounds.
That's right.
I beat the whole game. Just grabbed on everyone with toxic rounds. I never reloaded. I was like, how? And again, coming from a Destiny background, you know that they would be like, you only get 5 shots of toxic rounds and it goes away and recharges for 3 minutes, right? It's a breath of fresh air that they're like, do whatever you want. Combine these ridiculous synergies. Yeah.
Counterpoint. Absolutely. Toxic rounds, anomaly rounds, great. Most skill builds, absolute dog meat if you go into the higher world tiers. Now, Ryan, shut up. I see your face. Oh, my Devastator build is working. Devastator's fine because it has some built-in healing with Tremor or whatever.
I don't run Tremors.
And okay. Are you using Golem though to reduce the damage by 65%?
Well, of course you use a
Well,
golem.
I know. That's what I'm saying though. Is if you run around as a trickster, and you're like, I'm gonna whirlwind. You're dead.
You're not a
I'm
tank
gonna
as a trickster. That's not what you do.
No, but that's the thing is you can't use your abilities on a lot of the classes and do ability builds. It's just very unbalanced in a lot of cases, and I was starting to play.
Are you researching the builds really well? You know about like the Firestorm builds on Pyro?
Yeah, but
the Twisted Rounds build on Trickster is so much fun. Get the Bulwark because it has bleed rounds. Then you get Vampiric Mag, so every kill that's bleeding enemy gets 50% of your magazine back. Unlimited Twisted Rounds. I know it. I get your point though. The round base, like the stuff that buffs your gun,
they're so good.
It is so ridiculously good because the guns themselves are so powerful, and the fact that you can take an exotic perk and put it on another gun is. I did that. You know that random shotgun where if you hit someone, they float into the air?
Yeah.
I got 2 of them randomly on my Technomancer. So I took the perk, I put it on an LMG. I'm literally spraying everybody, and they're all floating. Dude, bosses are floating in the air. I'm like, this game's a freaking joke now. I'm literally just gunning this guy down as he's floating in the air. But again, it's like kind of refreshing. It's like it doesn't take itself too seriously. It's just like go wild, get some insane synergies.
Yeah, and a lot of those things, it's like it would be easy to criticize and say like, well, but does that make it too easy? And quite frankly, the answer is no, because they have this excellent system for customizing the difficulty level of your game with the world tier system and then the expedition tiers as well. Because those builds like that they're kind of fun and silly if you're playing casually, but if you take that into like a tier 10 to 15 expedition. I don't know, man. I don't know if that's going to be all that useful.
I did it.
At tier 15?
Yeah, tier 15 trickster build. You think I'm some kind of casual here? We're in tier 15,
yes, that's
baby.
literally what we all think. We all literally think that.
Well, you shouldn't.
But
I love it. Good.
I think the game is definitely fun, but I personally have been like a little turned off by some of the jankiness and like the fact that the second I swap from like bottom tree trickster to top tree and like anomaly rounds, it was like, oh my god, this is like 3 to 4 times easier. And I made a video talking about world tiers and stuff. But like, if you go in the world tiers too fast, like your abilities aren't going to keep up.
You don't need
your damage is gonna tank. And every comment is like, you're an idiot. I'm playing at max world tier with my anomaly rounds, and I'm like, there he is. And like, oh, I'm using my toxic rounds. I'm like, yeah, I know you are, because they're that good. It's a weird disconnect between the scaling of the weapons because you're getting your weapons to drop and it feels like those have a lot of damage and then you stack the anomaly rounds on. And it's just, I don't know. I think they need to
also like
look at like, okay, so like Earthquake gets bonus damage. I think they need to just up that like 30, 40%. So you're not having to use 2 abilities all the time to kill an enemy or whatever. It just seems like the ratios need a small adjustment for those builds to be up front and like on par. Because right now, if you're speed running through those and you're trying to get the best rewards, it's all about speed. And if I can kill it 3 times faster, just headshotting it with anomaly rounds, it's like kind of getting boring.
I agree, but I think that you got to remember that certain abilities, certain perks scale with level. So like if you have a perk that's like added 4,000 weighted knife or like the knife damage. If you level that piece of gear up, it's going to go to 4,500. And if you level it up, it's going to go to 5,000. So like a lot like weapons, you need like whatever your max gear score is, you want a weapon of that max gear score because it's so important for DPS. But if you that is a downside of running an abilities build, then you're going to need like multiple of your armor sets with those perks to be max tier to be. So hopefully they can go in and adjust some things and balance some stuff. I think another super dumb thing, if I'm being honest, is if you're doing those drop pod missions, you know how if you do a few, you get drop pod resources and then it lets you, it unlocks other ones we have to pay drop pod resources to do them. The ones you have to pay, they don't give any better rewards. They give the exact same rewards than if you do it. So why would I pay for one if it doesn't give me any different rewards? As far as I know, if they do, they don't say it anywhere. And it doesn't feel like it when you do them.
That's like the world tier system. Like, why would I make it 10 times harder and get the exact same experience per enemy killed?
Because you get more legendary drops.
Yeah, and that's fine. But it's just like, why? Like I feel like there's some weird disconnects, you know?
That is a good dude. When I got to the final boss, and I was slaying everything with my Technomancer. I got to the final boss and I was like, all right, I had some trouble. I was like, I dropped it down to World Tier 2. I was like, I don't give a crap. And it just beat it in 2 seconds. And I'm like, I'm not even going to get legendaries from this guy because it like goes right into a cutscene and you don't even get rewards really.
You get a guaranteed legendary at the end of the campaign because there's a
But I
chest
think you
waiting
get
for
that later. Or no, I got that chest, but I
No.
turned my World Tier back up.
The thing is, though, is you can bring gear to
Because
like
it's
your
in
max
the-
level, right? And I feel like it's not too expensive. Like you definitely need a farm. But I was watching like that solid FPS guy, and he had a level of 9 gun that he had farmed in the demo.
Yeah.
And he was like leveling it up, and he was like 32, 32, 32 titanium, and he had like 40,000. I know he's like been farming a ton, but he brought it up, and like compared to the resources he had, it was pretty minuscule. So the nice thing
does
is
get yeah,
It does get really expensive.
It does
Like, near
get
the
very
end.
when you get to
expensive.
level 50, yeah.
right.
But actually, when you get to level 50, the best strat is kind of to look for blue gear that has perfect stats. Like you want like weapon life leech, bonus fire, or like whatever. And then you increase it to purple, and you get a choice between 3 perks. So
Right.
you can find like a good perk, and then like it's easier than getting a legendary where it's like you have to have 2 good perks or 1 guaranteed good perk. So and the perfect stats. So
Which is nice because you can kind of craft your way up there.
yeah,
Um,
it actually gives.
because-
But so
Yeah. Anyways.
No,
We're
it's just
we're
an
getting like
interesting-
into the details of like the grind.
The nitty
you know?
gritty, yeah.
yeah. But it's like these are only problems that are going to come up after you've spent 50 hours, 40 hours playing the campaign, getting all the way leveled up, getting to tier 15. Then you're going to notice some of these problems, and they're easily fixable problems, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Just like do a couple buffs and nerfs, adjust some damages somewhere, and then you have abilities builds that are cracked.
Now, if you look at Outriders, kind of one of the final things I wanted to bring up is if you're looking at Outriders, do you think that it's going to have an audience long term like the Division would, or like a Destiny, or is
That's
it
a
going to
good
be?
question.
Is it going to be people play it, they love it, it's awesome, and then they put it down?
Dude, that's a great question because like views wise, if I put out an Outriders video, it does okay at best. It's not doing that well. And it's like it's kind of annoying. You get the people like, oh, just go back to Destiny. You're not even getting good views. It's like, what am I gonna post in Destiny? What, like a GM guide where I recommend using the same freaking gear for the last that I did for the last GM and the last GM because it's all the same crap. Like what am I gonna like? So I rather play something new, but it is like it's popular, but it's not like absolutely banging. It's not like we're talking about Grand Theft Auto here.
Mhm.
And like you said, when you beat the game, you're kind of done. When you get to the top of the end game, you're kind of done. There's no like this is not a live service. And in some ways that's refreshing because it's like you're not drip fed content. You just actually it's like you get the whole burger and the fries. Bungie gives you the burger and then it gives you 1 fry at a time for like 8 weeks, right?
Mm-hmm.
It is kind of nice to have the whole product, but on the other hand, once you're done, you are kind of done.
What do you think, Ryan?
Yeah. Well, I think it scratches a different itch. I don't think that everything needs to be a hobby game. You know what I mean? Not everything needs to be a hobby game like Destiny, where you're logging in every week to do your weeklies and stuff like that and get those banged out. It's kind of refreshing every now and then to just have a game that's like, here's what it is. Take it at your own pace, in your own time. And there is a lot of content there. I mean, like I said, I'm 60 hours into the game and I still have a lot to do. I'm not at my I've been kind of going slow too. I'm a bit of a completionist. So, I'm working on my legendary sets so I can get set bonuses, which they're kind of okay. None of them are too incredible, but it's just kind of a thing I'd like to do. But I'm not even at the max expedition tier yet, and I'm 60 hours in. Like there's plenty of content. It's gonna take you a fair amount of time, and for the price tag, I think it's totally worth it because the experience. I've not regretted a single one of those 60 hours. They've all been fun. To me, it's honestly cheap entertainment. So I'm totally okay with it. I mean, I'm doing the Apex grind every week. I'm doing the Destiny grind every week. You know what I mean? It's like it's nice to have something that's just going to be a breath of fresh air every now and then for me to just plug in.
Yes, breath of fresh air, 100% jumped in. I don't think it's catching me, and I don't know why it's not catching me. Like here's the thing: is when a game comes out normally, like even like the Division or Division 2, in my free moments, I was like, I gotta get back on because I want to get back on. In this one, I was busy helping my brother with a condo. He was buying a condo. Congratulations, Dustin. He's got his first place. And, I was doing that. I'm doing some renovation stuff. And there has been multiple times where I've had time to play and I'm just not. I'm still level 27. I've watched some streams. Like, I'm up to date on it, but I'm like,
I'm gonna challenge you a little bit.
Want to grind it.
Do you
Like,
think?
I don't
Do you
know.
think a big reason that's the case is because you're a little bit behind and you just like feel like you're behind now, and you feel like there's no point to cover it now because you're too far? Because that was me on Genshin.
Mhm.
I was like, I will never catch up because the way it's designed, you can't catch up.
I think the big one is Fruit and I were playing, and I mean the thing is when I was doing a lot of that stuff away from content, the servers were down, so I actually didn't miss that much. But we started playing, and I was like, I just want to check something quick, and I swapped from bottom tree to top tree, and it was so much easier. I was like, ugh, it almost killed the game for me. And I know that there's other builds you can do, and when I get more abilities, that's cool. But it was such a stark contrast from using my Whirlwind and my Vorpal Blade to using Anomaly Rounds that I was like, damn. It just felt really dirty to me. It was so strong that I was like, the gamer in me that wants to get to endgame, I'm going to abuse this. And then it took a little bit of the fun factor away for me. So I don't know. It just not grabbing me the same way. And like with Path of Exile and stuff, which we'll talk about later, like I find myself wanting to grind and like checking all the loot. And in this game, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the enemies are boring to me. Like, I don't know if it's I don't know. I like using abilities, but popping a bunch of enemies with my Vorpal Blade, it started getting repetitive by the end of the campaign for me. But I don't know.
It's funny though, because like that's part of the reason I like it is because, you know, you mentioned like it's like the division or whatever. I got back into I mentioned I got back into the division by the time Genshin was going. One of the reasons I had to kind of stop playing is because it rolled onto a new season and like Destiny started. And it's like, I don't have time for 2 live service games.
Yeah.
Like Division is like, you got to grind 100 hours to do everything. You know what I mean? I don't have time for that. And Path of Exile was the same way. On your recommendation, I started playing Path of Exile and I played a crap ton over like 3 days, got to the end game. Like about a week, I was level 80 or whatever it was, right? And then I started to realize, and I started to look up guides and like, how to craft your gear. I'm like, this is going to take hundreds of hours, which is fine if that's your main game. But because Destiny is my main game, it's like, I don't have time for this. And that's why I kind of prefer that Outriders is like this somewhat simple package. I think it's fun, and it's over when it's over, and it's not going to drag you along for months, right? And I actually like it because of that.
Yeah, that's fair.
But if you are looking for a new main game, then that's a negative, right? If you are like, I quit Destiny, I'm done with it, I want a new Destiny-like game, you're going to probably have fun in Outriders up to a point, then you're going to be done. So it depends on what you're looking for.
It also depends on how much game time you have. Like I got some buddies of mine that, I mean, their game time is kind of limited. They work full-time jobs. Yeah. They got families, and so their game time is kind of limited. So for them, a game like Outriders, even to do 60 hours of gameplay, while for me it took a week, for them it might take 2 months. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. But the thing is, and I think we kind of really got a little bit off topic, because the original the interesting topic was like, it's so interesting watching this game, and even Tash, you said it didn't grab you, but this is not like a terrible game, right? When it functions well. Crashes, usually the crashes have something to do with people joining you, I've found, or like you starting a multiplayer game, where if you're actually in the fray, in my experience, everything works fine. Enemies are floating in the air and blowing up and crazy stuff is happening and it still works fine, right? And it's like you watch it, but because it had these server issues, it's like people who aren't playing the game are like, trash game, right? It's like new Anthem, bro. And it's like those people we talked about last time. It's like the people who like, even with Anthem, never played Anthem. They just wanted it to fail because it was EA, right? Yeah. It's EA and it's got to fail. And I watched a YouTube video saying there's going to be loot boxes, which was a complete lie. And then it has these issues. And then they're like, I told you. See, I told you. I get, there is like a actually pretty dedicated group of people that actually played Anthem. And we're like, I had fun. I had fun for multiple hours, like 40, 50 hours. I got to the end game, got bored, stopped playing. I don't hold a weird resentment against the game. Really unfortunate they never got like Anthem Next going. I feel like that would have actually been really good. But
I would recommend this game over Anthem any day of the week.
I think it's a more solid, like complete experience. I think Anthem had, honestly, I think Anthem had more potential. I'm sticking to it. I think if they would have like got that end game under control, fixed a few things, I really liked certain aspects of Anthem. But
Well,
That's-
Anthem got canceled. But that puts us into
Yep.
our next topic because Genshin Impact getting canceled, question mark?
yeah.
There
Take
was,
it away,
uh,
Dan.
Yeah,
alright.
you're the one who I
Rapid
randomly looked
fire.
on Twitter.
Yeah,
Hashtag
so
cancel Genshin.
boycott Genshin.
Boycott Genshin.
So this is for multiple reasons. The number one reason, and this was the one that got the most hype, was kind of racist tones for multiple different things. So one of the ones is they're talking about whitewashing characters, and in the descriptions of a lot of the characters, so Kaya, a lot of different characters describe him as exotic. And like that's kind of like what do you mean exotic? He's a person. And yeah, he's got a different skin tone, but like why is he exotic? And there's just like a few different references throughout. There's a lot of reading you'd have to do to kind of find all of them, and they're not maybe directly said in game, but in a lot of the lore and the, kind of the character details, it makes references like that. And then another one is there's a girl named Xinyan, and she's like whitewashed. Like people are saying like she's like super whitewashed because there was pictures of her before and she was much darker. And then when they put her in game, like she's like essentially white. Like they like made her a little bit more tan, and people are like, why did you do that? Because that's not what she was supposed to look like. And there's all these little things that are starting to come to light, and people are saying this is a little weird. But the biggest one, the one that is actually enraging a lot of players, is the hilly churls, which are kind of the basic enemies in the game. They had like a dev blog thing, and it showed them editing and working on the hilly churls, and right beside it is like a Native American footage of like a tribal dance. And they're like, whoa, like you're mimicking these hilichurls off of like a Native American dance, like tribal dance. Like, why are you doing that? And they've got some tribal masks, all these different things. And it started causing a lot of outrage in the community. People were coming out saying that they were offended. And, you know, this is very tone deaf. Like, why would you be doing this? And then it got even worse because then they started making comments about pedophilia. So one of the characters in the game, he's like, 20 years old, 25 looking years old. He's got like a little beard, and he's making comments about this girl named Flora and how he's going to profess his love and he wants to take her on a date. Well, Flora is like a 6-year-old girl in game. And everyone's like, what the hell? Why is he saying these things? It's super, super creepy. It turns out that, the model for Flora, she actually was an adult back in the beta, but they didn't change the voice line. So there's a lot going back and forth. People are showing screenshots, and then, there is a little bit of debate on how bad is it, but there's kind of like a rising concern that maybe the Genshin creators are a little sus, and people are calling for boycott of the game. And yeah, I'm even seeing like
oversight,
on my videos,
but it's a pretty big oversight.
It is, and the change with Xinyan, they 100% changed her skin tone, and it's like, why? Why did you do that? And I don't know. It's weird, and maybe it's a cultural thing too, because like they are from like China. Like MiHoYo is like a Chinese company.
Well, yeah, like the Chinese Communist Party does not have the best track record for being tolerant. Right. I can't say anymore. We'll get taken down. But do a quick Google search about what's going on in China. Like there's real bad stuff, right? So it's like, and I'm not saying MiHoYo is, well, I mean, if they're operating out of China, they've got to play ball with the Chinese Communist Party because it's a totalitarian regime. Right. So it's whatever they want to happen. Yeah, so
it's bizarre.
Definitely a different environment over there.
And I mean, even just like the player base is getting really tired because there's nothing to do in game, and like a lot of content creators are kind of switching to where it's like, damn, they're like, this game is really falling apart. So that's something kind of interesting. Is that like a lot of these complaints, while very valid, they kind of when I was looking up this stuff, it was like these complaints, and then always put on was also like predatory prices and like predatory chances. And so it seems like it's kind of like a culmination of all these things where people are getting upset about this game. They just keep adding character to get more money and not adding any meaningful content. The content they do add is tone deaf in this regard and stuff like that. So I mean, just people are like kind of building up this frustration.
It seems like.
And you know, the craziest thing is the amount of business emails I get, because I've wished on some people's accounts in the past and everything. The amount of people begging me to wish on their account, almost out of like seemingly like desperation, because they can't get the characters they want because of this gacha system. Like every day I log into Discord and some people have found my name and have Discord messaged me saying like, can you wish on my account, please? Like the amount of begging in Genshin because people feel helpless is insane. It's insane.
Man, that's rough.
And I don't know, it makes you wonder like, when is the breaking point? Because it has been dead for a long, like there's been nothing to do and I've been milking it. I understand I've been milking it. And like, you know, there's no other games that are really catching me, because when it's good, it's great. And when there is combat activities, it's amazing. And I love building a team. But even the recent updates, they were like Mario Party Light. There was like, shoot the balloons out of the sky. And then there was like a Fall Guys thing. It was this whole event and it was like 2 weeks long. No combat. Like hardly, like almost no combat. And it's like, I have spent days and days and weeks farming artifacts.
Perfecting my build.
Exactly. So I can hit 100,000 damage with my ability on D-Luke. Where am I supposed to use that? And I feel like I'm a crazy person bringing it up all the time. Like it's like a combat exploration game with no combat or exploration. Like once you've done that first little bit, they're just throwing like mini games and like a dating simulator. They added a dating simulator where you like go on these little side quests with characters and there's different, you know, paths you can do, and it's fine. And I understand that, you know, people that like anime probably really like that, but I'm like, I didn't sign up for this. And I kind of said, if they don't add combat soon, I have to quit. I have to quit because this isn't the game I signed up for and I thought it was. I thought it was an RPG game, but it isn't. So it's weird. I'm canceling the game. People are canceling the game. Like it's crazy.
They actually added a dating simulator.
Yes.
Like where you go. Okay, hold on. So let's say you pick a male character, and you go and you like, what is there like? It's like speed dating. They're
called hangouts.
Explain this.
They're called hangouts. So like you would go up to Bennett and be like, he'd be like, "Hey, you're the guy Mtashed. Like, I heard you saved the city." And then it's like, "Yeah, man, I did." And it's like, "My name's Bennett." And then you'd go and you'd like go on like a little hangout. And some of them are like maybe a little bit more datey than the others. But it's mostly just like, yeah, just kind of like going on.
Can you do it like in between like two playable characters, or is it just a playable character with an NPC?
It would always be like, your main character goes on the date with one of the in-game characters, so like Bennett or Noelle.
So just like the main character of the game.
Yep. Whether you're the male or the female, and then you've got like 4 characters that you can go on a date with.
So the characters that everyone is simping on, like,
are not in.
No, but the girl, like, that's where you go. You go, oh hey, D-Luke, and can we hang out?
They're not all in the game yet.
I mean, honestly, it's kind of smart because, like, let's be honest, Genshin Dating Simulator was like someone in their basement. It was developing that game.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So they beat him to the punch.
The audience for Genshin is very weird. I'm not gonna lie, it is a little weird, and they are like crazy simps for the game. And if you critique the game, they're like, no, like, have you ever thought that maybe it's a gacha game and like they don't want all this end game? And it's like, okay, well then I don't want to play. Like then it's not for me. But people will defend at the edge of the earth, and it's like, whoa, guys,
yeah, because their 17 girlfriends are in that game.
Yeah. And it's like, I spent $4,000 on this game. They'll make it good eventually.
Luke.
Yeah. It's just weird. I mean, I think people are up in arms, but that's pretty much it for the Genshin Impact topic.
All right. Yeah, interesting. It really does seem like a culmination of like all this crap that people are like really sick of.
Yeah.
So hey, real quick, after our next topic, we're gonna do our typical advanced GG
with a surprise.
But there's a surprise. We're gonna do a giveaway. The information on that giveaway we'll talk about after this next topic. But there's some pretty cool news that came out today. Well, I thought it was pretty cool. 100 Thieves. So Nate Shot, the owner of 100 Thieves, came out today in video format announcing that he's going to have 2 co-owners of 100 Thieves now, Valkyrie and Courage. And that was really cool. I mean, honestly, you think about how much weight Nate Shot has to carry as like the sole owner, right, of 100 Thieves. Think about how diverse they are now.
Well, they've got Drake too, right?
Like who's in 100 Thieves? They've got their whole they've got their hands in a lot of different pots, right? In the competitive side of things. And then beyond that, just content creators in general that are signed with them, living in their facilities, all that stuff. Like,
I'm so clueless this, I don't really pay attention to this stuff, but like was Courage and Valkyrie already part of 100 Thieves before?
they're already part
They
of
were
100 Thieves.
signed
So-
as
so
content
they're
creators.
promoted from within.
Yeah, so a
That's-
little bit of
Okay,
of
cool.
backstory here. So like Courage used to be with MLG way back in the day, right? That's how he and Nadeshot met, right? Because Nadeshot was a competitive COD player way back when. So they kind of had a bit of a history there. And they had chatted about 100 Thieves a long time ago and what that could look like for them both to be involved in it. And Courage ended up doing his own thing for a long time. Nadeshot did his own thing. Nadeshot started 100 Thieves. Courage then ended up moving into the 100 Thieves house with them and living with them for a while before joining. And now, they've been great buds for a long time. Now he's been in 100 Thieves for a while now and now a co-owner. Valkyrie she's honestly just I don't want to say rags to riches, but it's like she started out just a GameStop worker and now she is literally the most influential female streamer, period.
Did you see the
doubling
thing today?
Pokemains.
Yeah. They posted like at the analytics, and it was like double.
She's like
Pokemon.
12.8 million watch out. Like it's
Do
crazy.
you think some of that though is because she's on YouTube? Like this could be kind of like YouTube versus Twitch of Pokemon versus obviously they do different content, but like I remember us talking about Valkyrie hitting record numbers with Among Us, right? Record concurrent viewers because of YouTube, and I think if you're looking at pure watch time, I think YouTube is better at bringing in the views.
Could be.
Subs, there might be a little bit more of a sub donation culture on Twitch, so potentially they may make more revenue. Or are you saying no?
Didn't you see the post that they made? Like they came out with a post YouTube from YouTube the other day. YouTube is the highest in-app purchase app in the world right now. Because of memberships, because of people using the membership feature.
But that's just because it's so much bigger. I'm saying like for a streamer, if you have a streamer with 5,000 viewers on YouTube and 5,000 viewers
like
on
sub
Twitch,
to viewer
I
ratios.
feel like if you
Sure,
have 5,000 viewers on the same platform, I feel like, and this is just hypothetical, but I just feel like Twitch has more of a donation sub culture. So you're throwing biddies, you're doing all this stuff, right? Whereas YouTube is like people make their donations and that's it. They make their donations. Not to say that's not trying to insult any of you guys. I'm just saying like they do the donations and then they do the memberships, and that's kind of all it offers. And it doesn't have biddies and cheering and this other stuff.
Question. But if the viewership, so let's say Valkyrie is getting double the viewership of Pokemon, and that could depend on the game and multiple different features. But if she's getting double the viewership, she's also going to be getting way more ad revenue, probably 5 times the amount of ad revenue, because the CPM on Twitch is dog meat. It is terrible, absolutely terrible.
Yeah.
So it's like, maybe people aren't doing memberships as much, but there is Super Chat, right? There is Super Chat, better CPM. Like I've contemplated going to YouTube a few times, and I mean, Ryan, you've done some.
I've been doing a bunch of YouTube streams. It's fantastic, dude. Like this is the thing about YouTube streams that gives me energy is chat is always moving. Whenever I stream on YouTube, like people show up and chat is just like do, and I'm like, it just gives me life, I'm bouncing off of comments here and there while I'm playing, and there's like never a dull moment. I end up like ending an 8-hour stream just like this, like you know what I mean, and like that's a great feeling. It's a great feeling. So I mean, YouTube has a lot going for it. Their algorithm has obviously been in the works for a long time. It's very well refined at this point. So I think that the platform does streamers a lot of favors if they already have an existing
this is a
viewer base to launch off of.
This is a huge deal, and it is very important that we have a female head of this major esports co-owner.
You think of esports, you think of like young men.
Now listen,
like,
I don't want poor chat's all like, oh, just because she's a woman or whatever. It's like, I know sometimes that people do push that narrative, and it seems unnatural, but this is a good thing, because guess what? You guys, you want a gamer girlfriend? There's got to be more gamer girls. Like there's still something that important to say is like there's still a stigma behind being like a gamer, right? If you're with Like if you're at like a family barbecue, right, and you tell people they're like, oh yeah, what's your hobby? Gaming, right? You'll be like looked down upon. It's weird, right? Where it's like, what do? Rewatch Grey's Anatomy like 6 times a day? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
it's
Like
not
how's
like
The
you're doing it-
Office for the 5th
Yeah.
time, buddy?
It's not like you're doing anything better, but it's like, unfortunately, it's like people would want you. I see a subgroup of people who like they claim they want, you know, the gamer girlfriend. They want more girls in gaming, but then they're like super negative when there is these girls in gamings, or they're saying, oh, she's just there because she's a girl or whatever. It's like, dude, you want to be welcoming. The more gamers there are, the better it is than for everyone, because there's more people in gaming, then there's more revenue for these developers to make better games. There's more, you know, you could get a more bump in player base, better matchmaking. It's just literally better for everyone. So I think it's a good thing, because it's like, if you can encourage more girls to get into gaming, that's a fantastic thing. Because if you think the stigma is bad for men, it's bad for women as well. Like, it's weird. Like my wife, like, I'm not a gamer, I never game. Give her Animal Crossing, like 8 hours straight playing Animal Crossing, right?
Sure.
And these other games, like, she absolutely loves, right? And it's one of those things where if you get past the stick, and why hasn't she never tried other games? Because there's a stigma around gaming, right? So I think this is a hugely positive thing.
I want to know what the buy-in was. Like, I want to know what the buy-in was and what percentage. Did they buy 5%? Are they 10% stakeholders? I can imagine it was pretty big. But, you know, they're going to profit from, because they've got like mortgage and or Rocket Mortgage and stuff. Like, they've got big sponsors. They're going to get a cut.
They're fine. They're fine.
But,
yeah.
It is definitely probably like a multi-million-dollar deal to get a stake in 100 Thieves, because they've done like revenue generating runs already. Like, they've got investment, and it's in the excess of like 20 plus million in some of these runs. So
crazy.
It's not an easy buy-in for them. That's for damn sure.
They're sponsored by everyone. It's like, here's the Cash App headquarters. Here's the Papa John's porta potty outside. We got like, it's all this random crap.
Right.
We got the Tostitos toilet in the Papa John's porta john. Like, we're ready to go, baby.
And like, whether you like nature or not, you have to respect how they've really been trendsetters. They've really broken the mold for organizations globally in terms of esports teams, and being one of the first organizations to branch out and be like, listen, we're not only about playing competitively, we're also about being entertaining, and taking on a lot of content creators under their umbrella. You know, I think it's worked out very, very well for them, and they're sort of changing the stigma, because it was a lot of times it was sort of like this negative stigma. You see like these org boys and people trying to get signed by orgs. It's all about being super sweaty and kind of toxic, and that. You know what I mean? Like, I just think they've done a killer job of redefining what it means to be an esports organization, and they've really taken it to the next level.
And like, picking up Valkyrie, amazing pickup, because she is such a just like a great content creator overall. She's played variety and succeeded in variety, and like Courage, like, he is a good player, but he's not the best player. But his personality, he has one of the best personalities. He is constantly on and funny. And so, you know, I think that's the meta, is like, you don't have to get someone who's going to win a tournament for you. You can do that on the back burner, but you need people that are going to get eyes on the brand. And 100 Thieves has been doing that better than a lot. And, you know, some of the other, you know, big esports, some people picked up, like TSM picked up Myth and like Hamlins and all that. And they were really, really good players. And, you know, they need to do that, is pick like the entertaining people that are good players, and not focus on what's their kill death ratio. Are they going to win a tournament? They need to be able to do both, especially in this climate.
Yeah, it depends on if you want to do. If you want to be, there is organizations that are like, we are the tournament winners. We come, you match against us, you start sweating, right? Mm-hmm. Whereas, and so there's kind of a different thing. I think there's room for it all, right? I mean, in the Destiny community, like G1 is not really like, they're not tournament focused at all, as far as I know. Right? It's just about getting creators into this kind of team, into this like space.
Right? That's right.
So, do you want to do the giveaway for Advanced now?
Oh, let's do it, baby.
So, if you guys don't know, we are sponsored by Advanced.gg. And if you use code RGH, you can get 10% off your order. Amazing energy drinks. But they've actually given us, it was a $50 store credit?
$50 store credit.
$50 store credit. So we're going to do a giveaway, and it's very easy to enter. Right?
Oh, we haven't come up with.
We did not
we're
come up
kind
with
of doing this on the fly. We're gonna do a hashtag. So all you gotta do is to go 2 things. You have to follow the RGH Twitter account, and our @is what's our @TV at RGH Podcast.
Let me tell you exactly.
I think it's
is. I know it definitely off the top of my head.
Sure,
I'm just stalling.
I'll put it in
RGH
the chat.
Podcast.
There we go.
RGH_podcast.
RGH_podcast.
Bingo.
That's our Twitter and the reason you have to follow us on Twitter is so we can DM you when you win. So do it. Then you have to tweet something with the hashtag. Now we got to figure out what the hashtag is, boys. I'm thinking, I don't know,
RGH podcast.
Hashtag.
Hashtag RGH for life.
What's a great? What about what was your quote? That took off for a while. People were saying needed to be on a shirt. Do you remember that?
What I said?
Regulate these nuts. Is that what it was?
No, regulate these nuts.
Yeah.
How about just RGH for life? So let's start out. We can do regulate these nuts later. So you tweet something with hashtag RGH and then the number 4 and then life. Hashtag RGH for life. I just put it in the chat. Tweet. And if you're like, I don't have a Twitter, it's free. It takes 2 seconds. You literally make a burner account and tweet it out, and you might win $50. Why the hell not? Give us a follow. Tweet out hashtag RGH for life, and we will pick the winner in a few days. Likely, definitely, we'll announce it next episode next week.
And
Sure.
yes, I have seen all 50 comments so far saying my face cam is blurry. I literally can't do it. I can't like take a defib over to my router.
Discord was like, we need extra pixels for Rick and Tash. Take him from TV. Take his pixels and give him. Yeah, exactly. They're like, get this guy out of here.
Dude,
these other two need help.
Discord's a joke. It changed all the camera things. I can't even do the green screen anymore. It's like, oh, by the way, you can't do that anymore. We just refuse.
It doesn't make sense, dude.
Like you literally can't chroma key it properly anymore. Like I don't know what they changed.
Discord spends all of its revenue making hiring people to make even cringier announcements. It's like, ooh, hashtag ooh woo shwoo woo, you're the Discord partner, woo woo.
I think that's the preview of the Microsoft takeover.
True, yeah, exactly. They just got a rumor of Microsoft taking over, and then their quality went to crap.
So I want to talk about this one because this one's hype.
Go for it.
Tomorrow, one of my most anticipated announcements, Path of Exile is going to be announcing potentially their final season for Path of Exile 1. It is just a rumor. They haven't officially said that Ultimatum is going to be their final season, but they're doing a new league coming up soon called Ultimatum that looks pretty fire, and they're going to be doing a big announcement. But they're also going to be doing one of the first announcements since like a year ago, showing off Path of Exile 2. This is a second game, new campaign, new end game, new content, new classes. It is a huge brand new game. And I'm super excited for it. But also, tomorrow, they're doing a technical test, an alpha, for Diablo 2, the Resurrection, the brand new kind of remade Diablo 2. So we've got an interesting situation here. Path of Exile has been rapidly growing, continuing to grow, and honestly taking the reins over Diablo 3. They're announcing a second game, and I'm really curious, is Path of Exile 2 going to beat Diablo 4? Because it's going to come to market first, people are going to play it and go, damn, this is sick, and kind of put Diablo 4 on the back burner. And even the Diablo 2 relaunch, it's great, but if you can play the hot new Path of Exile 2, that looks amazing, I'm wondering if it starts taking some major market share. Because I would say, in the back of players' minds, they're still waiting for Diablo 4. Like, everyone's hyped for it.
And like I said, with Path of Exile, though, it's such a massive game. And Path of Exile 2 will probably not step up the casualness, right? It'll probably be just as hardcore. So, That's another interesting thing. If it comes to market first, and then you get super invested in Path of Exile 2, it's like, dude, it took you 500 hours to get this freaking build together, or whatever it is, in Path of Exile 2, And now, like, are you really gonna leave for Diablo 4? Like, I don't know. It's kind of.
I think there's no way. There's no way people don't show up for Diablo 4 literally just because it is Diablo. I don't think so. I don't think there's any way in the heck they get swallowed up by Path of Exile. I could be wrong. I might eat those words, but the community across the globe that loves Diablo there's such a rich heritage there.
Right. It is a strong brand.
It's been a trend-setting brand, and you can ride on that.
That's true.
You can ride on that.
Has it been too almost long, like though? Like it's been so long since the third game.
Hold on.
10 years.
Here's something. Hold on. What if alternate scenario, Tash? You're not gonna like this. Diablo 4 comes along and kills Path of Exile 2, just like when Battleborn came out, and everyone liked Battleborn, and then Overwatch came and was like, what's up? And just destroyed it just because there's so much. We lost him. We lost TV.
I'm just gonna. I was hoping to just kind of sneak in a quick in and out. See if that
it was not very sneaky. It was really obvious.
He looks good.
Oh, you're back.
Yeah, he's great.
Anyways, but like the Battleborn came, people like really actually did like Battleborn, but then Overwatch was so big that it just killed Battleborn. Killed it.
Yeah.
Like, do you think that's gonna happen with Diablo 4?
I don't know.
Like, let me just put you this. Most people who are playing Path of Exile 2 are coming from a Diablo background. But Diablo 3 like has got no really meaningful content for so long. They're sick of Diablo 3. But like I feel like they're playing Path of Exile almost like a holdover until Diablo 4.
And it could be. And like, I think the biggest thing is like, how long is Path of Exile out? Do they get a couple of huge banger years out of it and then Diablo comes?
What's the timeline looking for it to release? Like, what's the speculation?
Tomorrow we'll probably have our answer.
So it could be this year.
Maybe. Here's the thing is, if the rumors are true and this is the last season of Path of Exile 1, we could be looking at 3 to 4 months. Like, that would be crazy. I don't know about that. That would be kind of like, that would be shocking to me. I think it needs a little bit more time, but they might have been going hard on it for a long time, and now Path of Exile is way closer than we think. And if that's the case, they're beating Diablo 4 to market by years.
At least a year.
Yeah. So that'll be pretty cool. But, Diablo 2 technical test, I think that'll be a really big, like showcase of how dedicated people are for Diablo. And, if Diablo 2 pops off and gets people, falling in love with the brand, maybe that's enough to sustain it even when Path of Exile 2 is out. Maybe Diablo 2 is right beside Path of Exile 2, and people are going for the nostalgia of Diablo 2 versus the new Path of Exile. I don't know. Mm-hmm. The one thing is, you did say, what if... I would say Path of Exile has a bit of a barrier to entry. It is not the easiest game to get into. It does appear that they're making a few changes to that, which would be good. I mean, they've got amazing in-depth crafting, all these different things, but it seems that they're making some changes to the gem system, or like the skill gem system, to make it a little bit more accessible, which is exciting, which is definitely exciting, because I think right now Path of Exile has issues in getting new players, and like 5,000 pieces of loot dropping. You literally have to get a loot filter in game.
Yeah, that's weird.
There's so much trash that drops, and it's like, well, why? Like, it's just a waste of material. Like, why are you dropping 5,000 items from an enemy? It doesn't make sense.
That was actually such a weird thing when I started getting into it. It's like, you have to... I didn't have it at first, and it's like, you have to download this program to like they basically auto delete certain pieces of loot.
Sure, and sorting.
And the console version automatically comes with this mod pre-installed.
Yeah.
I'm like, why don't the devs just fix it? What the hell?
Yeah, I know. But I'm definitely excited. I can't wait to see what they say tomorrow. Like,
you have access to the alpha? I bet you do.
I
don't.
What?
Who are you talking to?
You didn't get access?
Yeah, that's pretty embarrassing. Ryan, you me grouping up? I'm being a barb. Actually, I have a question. What is your go-to? Like, if you're playing a game like that, do you want like a barbarian, a sorcerer, a rogue? Like, what do you guys like?
I play mage classes, period, in this game.
Right.
Period.
What about you, Kackis?
I've been mage classes, I've been the barbarian classes, I've been archer classes.
Well, what's your favorite?
probably
You
like
have to
an
pick.
elementalist kind of spellslinger build if I'm
Mhm.
casting the big crazy meteorite spells.
Yeah, I
Those are fun.
typically like that, but there's something satisfying about like leaping in as a barbarian or like whirlwind barb. It's just like
Yeah.
there's something about just spinning and shredding and watching that. I don't know. I like that.
Remember
But
Realm Royale?
yes,
You
dude.
played that warrior class really. I remember one day I ran into you actually. I
Yeah.
was like, I'm gonna play my mage today. I'm a mage main, and then you literally steamrolled me as a warrior when I came across you in one of those buildings. I remember that. I don't even think you noticed it was me, but I did obviously because I died. It shows
Right.
your name.
Yeah.
But I that day I switched and started playing warrior, and I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, and then I got hooked on engineer, but I got hooked on engineer mostly because the guy I was playing with Void, he played
Mhm.
barbarian, and so I would do it to support him. He'd kind of dive in and I'd support, and
Sure.
that game kept my channel alive like for a bit. The tournament
a fun
winnings
game,
and all
man.
that, like it was crazy. It just they completely changed the crafting mechanic, like with the forge and everything. I've never seen a game
Yeah.
pivot from like the main thing that makes it interesting
Right.
and be like, let's just not do that anymore.
You want to get rid of that?
Yeah, because
No.
that was one of the. I hate BR games because I hate the randomness. I hate running into a building and I get a pistol and the other guy's got like a fully stacked M4 and armor. I'm like, well, I hate this. But with Pact of Exile, it's like I don't have a weapon, craft it. I don't have armor, craft it. Don't have abilities, craft it. You can always fix those slots. And I mean, I guess that's the nice thing that Warzone does is being able to get your loadouts called in and everything and kind of fill
After a
that.
bit, though,
Yeah.
the reason they have randomness is to help newer players kill, because it's like the more skilled players. Because if the newer player gets the good gun, he has a much better chance. If
Right.
the higher skilled player gets the good gun, well, they were going to win that gunfight anyways if they had two even guns.
True.
So that's the disparity.
Actually, speaking of that, there's a lot of outrage over Call of Duty and Warzone because of some power creep and different things going on. And that's like a good example is if everyone's spawning in with like these insane guns that are coming out with 0.3 time to kill, it's whoever can camp the hardest or whoever is going to catch them off guard.
That's
Yeah,
right.
this is our last topic, and we'll be quick about it. I just think it's interesting. The reason I think it's so interesting is it relates to Destiny in a big way, because there's a big trend right now. It's like hashtag fix Warzone, and like you change your clan tag to fixed like WZ Warzone. And it's like it's a huge movement right now for Call of Duty players because they're really upset with the state of the game. And part of the reason is because outrageous power creep, right? Like this is what Bungie, and like it was really annoying watching like it was really annoying watching people pretend like the reason behind sunsetting wasn't like legitimate, right? Like people were kind of hate baiting for easy views and saying like Bungie's just doing it because they don't know how to balance the game. It's like, no, dude, like power creep is a real thing, and it's exactly what has happened in Warzone, right? Because the average time to kill with the best guns back when we had like the Grau meta and stuff, it was like 0.6 something. I'm not exactly sure, but now it's like 0.4.
Right.
So the guns now are just killing faster, and it's changed the entire trajectory of the game, right? Because now it's like there's a lot more camping. You can't run across that street, because whereas before you could survive, you'd get across the street before you could die. Now you can't. So a lot of people are just very upset with that. They're handling it super badly. A lot of people are just like, oh my, there needs to be, I said this before, but it's like, you can't wait for, we're so excited for Battlefield, because hopefully if they have a competitor, they'll fix it, because a lot of the attachments in Warzone do like the exact opposite of what they state. Like it says increase aim down sights time, it'll like decrease it. And then it'll be like better recoil, it'll add recoil. And people are like, what the frick? Like what a joke. This is a AAA game. And they're making bank from these skins. So it is kind of an interesting movement. And it is interesting to see like unchecked power creep, where the guns right now in Warzone are just outright killing faster than the best guns a year ago.
And so if you're not using those guns,
you're screwed.
You can't.
You have no chance.
And so that's brutal. And the fact that you almost have to play slower, because if you do get caught off guard, you're dead. And that's it. And it's a BR game, and so it's slowing down the game. People are upset about that, and it's also one of those things where, if you don't get off to a good start and get your loadout, well, good luck, because now those people are getting the gun and they're just pumping you
Yeah.
even harder. So it's almost like if you don't succeed right at the beginning of the game, get those loadouts going, you just lose. You might as well be fodder because you're not going to win those fights.
Yeah.
So
Another thing that's really interesting about this to me, it's sort of taking the conversation in a different direction. I know that, so I won't milk it for too long. But another thing that's really interesting to me is that how devs have to deal with something they never really had to deal with before, and that is with so many forms of social media and so many influencers on all of those platforms, like the way that they have to react to a very dynamic and vocal community is really interesting. It's really interesting how communities are now helping shape the future of games in a way that they never really did before. Gaming when we grew up, it was, here's the game. You buy it, you play it, you like it or you don't. But right now it's, hey, we made a game. You play it and you're like, I hate this. And 100,000 other people are really against this thing. And so they're like, oh crap, okay guys, we'll go ahead and change it, we'll fix it. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's this really interesting relationship between community and developer that is kind of unprecedented, quite frankly.
Remember, the relationship also started because the developers and the studios now design the games to keep you coming back day after day, month after month. It's that continuation, and they want you to be investing all your free time into this game. So when they have attachments that do not do what they say, that's unacceptable, because it's like you're making $1 billion off this franchise and you want me to continuously play the game. I would expect that if it says to lower recoil, it wouldn't increase recoil. That seems like a massive oversight. So it is kind of like, yes, they have to deal with a lot more.
I wasn't saying that to defend developers, by the way.
I agree, but it's interesting. You're right. They have to deal with quite a lot more of a vocal community. And sometimes the community is mad about the wrong stuff, or they don't know what they're talking about. Like, I've seen people get mad about, oh, this is overpowered or this is whatever, and they don't even understand what that thing really does, or they're wrong about it. But at the same time, it's that different relationship. It's like you want people coming back and playing your game constantly. If they do, then they're going to find all these problems with it. It's just naturally going to happen.
Yeah.
That's absolutely right.
But I think also the thing is I feel like with a lot of these companies, maybe it's harder than I think. A lot of it is like pretty basic stuff to fix. Is like, this pump shotgun hits too hard. Drop the damage.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, well, okay. And I think
the thing, so the interesting part is the 3 guns that are absolutely cracked out of their mind in Warzone. And this will just be a really interesting aside. It's the FFAR, and it's the M16, and it's the AUG. And all 3 of those guns are from the new Call of Duty Cold War. And there was that integration where they took all of the guns from Cold War and put it into Warzone. And you can only get these guns if you buy the new Call of Duty. So I don't think it's a stretch to say that maybe they let the time to kills of the newer guns be a little bit better, because you keep
kind of like Stasis drove up Beyond Light sales.
Yeah.
What a surprise, right?
And
so
it's
every
like character in League of Legends, comes out.
I don't think it's that conspiratorial. I don't know where my tinfoil hat
Where's your
is,
thing?
but like, maybe the chat can give me some tinfoil hats, but I don't think it's that conspiratorial to say that maybe they let that time to kill be a little bit better. But in something like Warzone, and like you said, Tash, when something where you can guarantee get a gun, if it's a tiny bit better, it's the best.
Yeah.
You're not going to go with the second almost good thing. You're going to go with the best every time. You need that. Every millisecond counts. So that is another big thing. And like you said, it's pretty simplistic, but it's like they have Treyarch working on Cold War. They had Infinity Ward working on Modern Warfare. And then Raven Studios, I think, is in charge of Warzone. So you got 3 different studios here doing these different Call of Duty games. And it's like, is Raven sitting there and some guy gets an email and it's like all the files for the Cold War guns, and he's just gonna it's like,
implements it?
Literally, it seems like that's what happened. And that's why, and the attachment systems are like somewhat similar, but like the Cold War attachments, there's a Cold War attachments that reduce flinch, and Modern Warfare didn't have anything like that. So there's attachments that say reduce flinch, and then in Warzone it does nothing, because that engine, it wasn't designed around reducing flinch in an attachment. So it's like these clearly, it's like you have 2 different games trying to mesh in this third game, and it's just causing a crap ton of problems.
Interesting. Well, that's pretty much up for those main topics. Just wanted to do a shout out. Again, I don't know why this is happening. It's kind of not showing all of the super chats. I'm going to have to go back and look. But we got one from Christopher Sharp for $100 single-handedly paying for the whiskey that TV drinks every day. He says,
pay for half
Do you
of
think
a
it's
bottle?
going to pay for...
Oh, my.
Okay, so he said, can we get TV and Rick to once and for all figure out how to pronounce...
It's
I'm gonna call
Antiope. It's
Antiope.
You can say that, and that's
Antiope?
fine.
Antiope?
You can, I'm
There's
I'm
the
not a
Antiope.
stickler.
Antiope.
What are you saying, TV? It's Antiope or some
No.
dumb crap?
Some dumb crap. Antiope. It is a proper noun. It is the name.
Antiope. It's
Yes,
Antiope.
Antiope.
It's like cantaloupe. It's
You
not
are allowed. Here's the thing. You are allowed to say that if you want, but don't tell someone
Honey,
saying
can you
it
bring me
correct.
some cantaloupe?
Oh
Like,
my
what do you-
god. Listen to
It's
this guy.
cantaloupe
I listen.
Antiope. I don't
If
know.
the person who invented the character says it's Antiope, it's Antiope. All right.
Wait, isn't it a gun? Antiope D or whatever in Destiny? Is that what we're talking about?
Right,
Yeah.
but it's named after a Greek mythological character.
Are you
Antiope.
Greek? You speak Greek?
Okay, this is getting
It's
toxic.
a
I'm
proper
done.
noun. It's
Listen.
a proper noun.
Listen,
Ah.
we
You
got,
know what? Listen. You know what's interesting?
Here, let's mute
Hold on.
Kackis really quick.
No.
All right, we can't hear him now. So now we've got a $20 donation from Steven Mendoza.
I'm free.
Big bangers. We got $10 from Chris, $20 from Christopher Sharp, another $5, talking about eating Paimon. Is this cannibalism? Yes, don't eat Paimon. Andrew Preston with a $5 donation, talking about the demographics changing drastically in gaming over the last 15, 20 years. I would agree. Absolutely, they have changed over the last 20 years. Still a ways to go. Steven Mendoza, $5 donation. Shiver with the $5 donation. The fact that my wife watches this with me tells me you boys are fire. Hey, baby. You guys are cute. We love you, too. We love you. Christopher Sharp with that $100 donations. And then White Lotus Chef with a $5. Jesus. A lot of donations today. You guys are insanity.
I gotta say
Thank
one
you.
thing to TV. Something interesting is it may be Antiope or whatever in terms of a Greek pronunciation, but something I remember watching was someone with a PhD in linguistics, and it was saying it was the question: are you supposed to add like a foreign pronunciation? Are you supposed to add an accent to how you pronounce words?
Well,
And he
it's
said,
not an accent.
he said, technically no. So if you say Pakistan, it's Pakistan. You don't say Pakistan, right? If you add an accent like that, if you add something that it was traditionally from another place, that's actually improper English. So you're wrong. It's Antiope, is what I'm saying.
Oh, my Lord.
No. Here's the difference. Here's the difference. I'm not
you
telling you you're
might be
wrong.
right. You might be right.
I'm not telling you you're wrong. I'm saying you're allowed to say that, but you can't throw shade at somebody for saying it the correct way. That's my only point.
Hold on. You just said, I'm not saying you're wrong, just my way is the correct way. What would that make my way then?
You're not hearing me. I'm telling you, you're totally fine to say that, but don't tell somebody who's saying it.
I have never told anyone you're saying
Like
it
you
wrong
would-
other than
like you-
you.
would
I'm just
you-
joking.
Would you correct someone who called it
I've never corrected
Pakistan?
someone on the
Would you
pronunciation
be like,
of
listen, this
Antiope.
is Canada. We
I
say
cannot-
Pakistan, eh?
I cannot remember the last time I said Antiope. What is this like? What this guy watched a video from 2017
It's
when the
from
Antiope
Fallout's
D.
video.
Christopher-
when me, you, and Fallout played Iron Banner together.
Oh, I don't even
Christopher
remember that.
started something here. Now, normally we would go into After Dark, but it seems we've already done that. But
We're already in
I-
After Dark, baby.
I actually have to go. My father is downstairs installing baseboard in my office, and I gotta go help him do some stuff. So we're gonna cut the episode a little bit short here without doing too much of the questions and things. Thank you so much for all the donations. Make sure to do the hashtag there, RGH for life. If you guys haven't done it already, go to our Twitter and follow it to enter to win an advanced.gg $50 voucher. And this was episode number 32. We do them every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern time, so be there every Wednesday or else we will punch you in the ear. I'm Mtashed.
Before we go, you cannot stop the podcast. We have to answer one question, which is, what are you drinking today, TV? We can't end without that.
This is a delicious Founders Brewing Company beer called the Nemesis. Nice and malty. Oh, it's so good. Roll
a beer?
Oh, by the way,
I
drink
on
those
us.
I already ended the episode. No one heard that. I'm just kidding. But actually, there was a quick question. How do you feel about Japanese whiskeys? Is there a difference? I don't know.
I actually don't. I don't care for them too much. I'll drink them if I'm like doing a like whiskey tasting out somewhere, and you want to try one. But in terms of like buying a bottle, I've bought several bottles of Japanese whiskey, and I've never been like, oh, this is it. You know what I mean? I always just keep coming back to good Kentucky style ryes and stuff.
Exactly
There
the
it
same
is.
feeling as I have. Thank you
A good
so
Kentucky
much for watching.
A good Kentucky style Pombe. That's what Tash gets. I can't go away from the classic Pombe. He's got his different years of vintage Twisted Teas. This is a 2020 Twisted Sweet Tea. It's got a nice little extra malt to it.
Great sugary flavor. They've really set that in the barrel. I think. I'm not sure. A Mike's Hard Lemonade, extra lemonade.
I don't know why I bothered.
Yeah, exactly.
They're
Exactly.
hopeless.
Thank you guys again for watching. Stop bullying me, and we will see you guys very soon.
All right. Bye.